Hey YouTube, Hester781. So, unfortunately, there's no small engine video this week. I've been really under the weather. My house has been in a state of construction since September, and just sickness after sickness. This weed whacker has been waiting for its turn, but gotta throw together a quick one, but also a cool one that's been requested by a few people. People have always asked, are there any tools that you would recommend, whether for the small engine trade or mechanic trade in general? And I feel like these videos sometimes get overplayed or overdone or redundant. You see the same tools on everyone. So of course I do have my own recommendations. So I'm going to recommend some tools that can be bought, some tools that I've made myself, and then some EDC tools that I just sort of always have on me. So let's get into it. All right, so just full disclosure, these are going to be in absolutely no particular order, just as I pick them up. So starting off with blowgun. You guys see me use this all the time. What makes this special are these tips. So get yourself a blowgun with different size tips, because you can do, blowout hoses, blowout, I use this one for, believe it or not, it's my sink drain a lot, because if you have kids, you know exactly what I mean. But one that I sort of made myself that I'll include in this category is right here. And this used to be like that, but the rubber tip sort of broke off and it blew away. But what I do with this is I'll put clamp fuel lines down to it, and blow out fuel lines or any sort of rubber hose, and that clicks right onto there. So just being creative is kind of what that's all about. Up next, we've all heard of and seen these squeeze grabber tools for when you drop something in an awkward place. But the problem is, if I got to get something right there and I can only reach here, I can't, you have to hold it right where you're sort of reaching. It's only good for as much as you can go in a straight direction. So this one right here, it's made by Blue Point, and unfortunately doesn't have a part number. And I've had this for so long that I don't remember, but if I can find one, I'll list it. It holds its position, and it has nice, big, strong jaws, which has been very useful for sort of, hooking the loop and getting into tight crevices. So I'd recommend finding, if you can, look on eBay. eBay is very underutilized, I feel like, when people are looking for tools to add to their collection. So that's my next entry into the cool tools list, is a grabber tool that holds its position. Next, I'm going to talk about these sockets, which at first glance, they just look like regular sockets, but they are actually square drive. Perfect for all these awkward drain plugs that aren't, sometimes the 3/8, the 1/2 inch, and the 1/4, yeah, you can just flip an extension around, put a wrench on it, and Bob's your uncle. But 7/16 and 5/16, sometimes an adjustable just doesn't want to get in there, and these things have been a godsend. They're really cheap. They're just a nice, throw them on top of the toolbox, and when you need them, they're there. Square drive sockets. Get yourself a set. Really quick, and talked about and underappreciated pick tool are these rounded head. They're for O-rings and seal remover tools. I'll admit it, when these came out, I thought it was kind of a gimmicky. Let me tell you, I use this thing a lot. Not just for seals, but it's just a nice dull scraper for when you want to get in, and I use it for cleaning out the fins on motors, getting dirt and crap out of there, because you use your nice sharp picks, you're just going to blunt the ends. And I know everyone has junk picks that they can use for that, but why not use something that's already purpose built with a nice rounded tip? The name has long washed off this handle, but this is Mac Tools, which guarantee they don't even make their own tools. So OEM makes a nice set. Type it in on Amazon. You can find it comes in a whole kit. This one just happens to be the one that I use the most. So seal removal pick set. All right, now this next one is really cool, and some of you guys are going to instantly pause the video and hit eBay. You've seen it once or twice on the channel. It's made by Snap-on, and it's been long since discontinued. There's no way you're going to see that. It is JT410, and it's a nut grabber. Let me explain. So put a nut just like that, release the spring. That ain't going anywhere. You can feed that down the section of subframe, start your bolt, and then quick release. Same thing with a bolt. Grab any size hex head, really small, feed it up and in and hold it on. They make a couple of newer versions of this that's, got a twist screw down here. They're not as nice. I mean, they're just kind of cheap and chintzy compared to, the old quality. But this was my grandfather's. So, long since discontinued, but you can still find them on eBay. So, just thought you guys would appreciate that. This next one, I'm willing to bet, I'm going to bet all of you younger guys have never seen. Some of you older guys have probably seen this. It's made by Bridgeport. The Bullpup I think it's N224 or number 24. I can't really tell. But I found these at a used tool store years ago. And I loved them so much I bought a second pair. And this is the second pair. It's just, look what it does, right? It is just a spreader opener tool. Keep your jokes to yourself. It's fantastic. It's got a nice wide purchase for cracking a gasket loose or pulling back a cover. Sometimes I honestly, in automotive applications, I used to put this in the middle of a door panel, in between the door and the panel. And now I could peek down and see if a window regulator was working or see if something fell off on a door lock actuator. And it saved me quite a few times. And it's just nice. Sometimes your hands are just not big enough. You can get yourself a nice big area to give yourself some room. I think they were originally, okay, here it even says it better. Number 24, Bullpup. According to Google, it was a valve spring compressor tool of some sort. I don't understand how it works. I mean, it spreads, so maybe it's, spread the rocker and compress the spring that way, but I'm not sure. Maybe if one of you guys are familiar with this tool, you can tell me exactly what it was used for. I would really appreciate that. But just a neat tool to have in the back of the toolbox as a nice trick to pull out. And my next tool, I'm actually not going to take out of the drawer because it's all settled into its little rubber holder, are these flexible Allens as well as Torx bits. But they were made by Gear Wrench. I think Baco makes a set now. And these have just been fantastic. Again, thought they were going to be gimmicky when they came out. So I only bought the metric set. At work, I bought the American set. This is my third set. So I have two sets at work, American and SAE. Here I have metric and Torx. And I don't have an American set for here, but is what it is. I end up using these a lot more anyway. But yeah, love the flex head. They handle a good amount of torque for what they are. Don't be an animal. You will snap them off. But yeah, pretty neat anyway. And the last of the cool tools you can buy is this little straw saver. I'm gonna put the part number right here if I can find it. Used to be made by a company called Holdzit it was called. Can't find those anymore, but they started reproducing them again a few years ago. And it's just what it looks like. How many times you knock the straw off and bam, it's right there when you need it again. So really cool. But also segueing off of this, we're going to go into shop tools that I've made. And the first one is going to be the Humble cleaning straw, just like that one, only in red. But look what I've done to it. I've added a piece of heat shrink tubing. I know, getting exciting. And a weather pack connection. Now, for those of you who aren't in the automotive field or electronics, generally, when you're working with pins and stuff, you have these little weather packs that keep moisture out from entering the back of the wire into whatever connector you're working with. What I have found is they fit nice and snug over the ends of these straws. And when you're cleaning out carburetors, how many times have you just sort of held the straw there and held your eyes away and then sprayed and then hoped you hit it? You can push this right down into that hole, and it makes a nice rubber seal right up against where you're pushing. Right here, right there, inside. It's just, very handy. I sort of got the idea one day, and it's worked out pretty well for me. I think you can make it with any size you want. I have a couple different ones at work, fatter, smaller, but something cool to keep in your back pocket. All right, next one up is the die grinder attachment tool that so many of you guys have been interested in. So basically, your standard die grinder you know, sanding disc holder is going to look like this. Have the rubber sides and be backed up, you know, except a disc about that big. All these are that minus the rubber. You know, the rubber's gotten beat up or destroyed, so I've cut it off. And it just gives you that much less girth to sort of get into cracks and crevices, which doesn't seem like it'll give you that much, but when you're cleaning up like a caliper bracket, and you know, you got to get into a spot like that, you know, you can get right in there, whereas with the rubber tip, it sort of hits the wall and starts catching on the rubber, and that's sort of how these things get, you know, cooked in the first place, is catching on sharp rubber. So I made this one a long time ago. I made this one a little more recent. I think this was for like a 1-inch 1-inch sand disc. I think these are 2-inch, and they make a 3-inch as well, but I never really used the 3-inch. Anyway, a lot of people have asked about it, and that's all that is. Simple, effective. I love it. So if you want to make yourself one, that's how you do it. So this next one is going to seem a lot less valuable than it is at first, but just stick with me. So everyone uses picks. We all know them. We all love them. I make my own. Don't get me wrong. I use these, but my most used picks are the ones I've made myself. This was an old flathead screwdriver, and there's a certain way you have to make these. Now you take it to the you know, the grinder, you know, bench grinder. You grind it a little bit and then quickly quench it in water. Then grind a little bit more, quench it in water. And that's the key, is you don't let it get hot. Because as soon as you've overheated it, that tip will bend under any sort of force whatsoever. And you're just going to say, oh, what the heck was he talking about? But, you know, this is one I made a long time ago that's just a lot more stout. But this one I used a lot. Because look at the difference in thickness. It's actually... the camera doesn't make it look as nice as it is in person, but this one on the right is so much thicker, whereas this has such a fine point. I can get into all the little cracks and crevices, and it's invaluable. You know, I just made this board one day, and it's become one of my favorite picks that I use, and you guys have probably seen it in many videos. But yeah, if you guys get some cheap picks around, practice on those. If you get some broken screwdrivers around, practice on those. It costs you nothing. You're probably about to throw it away anyway. Which is, again, this was a throwaway that I turned into a nice stout pick. So that's my 2 cents on picks. All right, this next one falls under ridiculous, but I like it anyway. So when I first got my lathe, I was sort of practicing, you know, making handles for the first time. And this is the first tool handle I ever made by myself on the lathe with my own tooling. I made the you know, tool to cut that out and knurling. You can see the knurling's not that perfect here, but it came out pretty nice here. And what I made is a hook tool for reaching into 2-stroke gas tanks and taking out the little fuel filters. This is literally just a piece of coat hanger that I epoxied into the hole. Do you need a handle? No. Is it ridiculous? Absolutely. Does it make me smile every time I reach for it and get to use it and say, I made that myself? Absolutely. And that's the whole reason we're having this video is... you know, what's the point of tools if you don't enjoy them, right? And I'll just throw another random quick tip in there. If you guys eat Altoids or see these in the store or like dollar store and they're like 50 cents, even if you don't eat them, I recommend buying them and throwing the candy away. I use this tin anytime I have to go to a hardware store and, you know, match up a little piece of something, or if I say, oh, I gotta get one of these keys. This is an exaggerated version, but you know how tiny these can be. And, you know, looking for a Ziploc or you wrap it in a napkin, I just chuck it in there. Now it's closed, will not open, and I stick it in my pocket. I don't know. Might save you guys a little aggravation. It's giving you any knowledge I can think of at the moment. And what I think is my last shop-made tool is going to be right here. And some of you have seen it in the background. Some of you already know what it is. So it is a magnet and a bolt. And this is a coupler bolt that's sort of threaded on both sides. Grade 8 nut. Piece of all thread, a thick piece of steel, and a little bit of hot glue gun. And what this is a great place to hang your welder. You know how many times I'm welding on this table, and you're going to put this gun down, and it just wants to fall off. You know, the cord's pulling it down. They actually sell these, so I sort of looked up designs on ones that they sell and copied it, and you know, made my own sort of, you know, gypsy version, but it works for me, and like I say, makes me smile every time it's used, and I, you know, get use out of it. And there's a little bit of pride in saying, you know, I built that, you know, when I could have spent $30 and just bought one. And what's the point of having a welder if you don't use it, right? And last but not least, let's get into EDC. So I'm not going to get into, you know, specifics of what's better, what's worse. This is just stuff that I've carried for years and has been tried and true and works for me. I am well aware that there are many better products out there. I'd love to hear your recommendations. I always love hearing about everybody else's EDCs, what they recommend. I'm not saying mine is better, and I want to hear what yours is. I'm just saying this is what I use. So here are the top 3 notable things. This is my flashlight. It's a Streamlight Stylus Pro. And I know a lot of you guys are already shaking your heads, but this baby is at least 8 years old. And I have one that's going on, like, I gotta say 12, 13 years old, maybe more. They are just cheap and cheerful. I'm pretty sure you can still get these on Amazon for 20 bucks. The only thing I've had to replace is the back switch. The rubber will break down over time, but they do sell the switch separate. Again, that's a plus for me. Here's the second reason I love this light. Ready? It takes batteries. I can literally have a dead flashlight and in no time flat, put 2 new batteries in and be right back to work. Call me a boomer, call me whatever you want. I am just against all of this rechargeable technology. It's convenient until it isn't. You know, you got to buy extra batteries and you got to swap out the batteries and make sure you charge the battery. I don't know. Call me wasteful. I'll take it. I'll wear that hat with pride. I love being able to just go to my drawer, throw 2 new batteries in, and know that I'm going to make it through the rest of my job. Not the brightest, but when I need light, I need any light. You know, I'm underneath the dashboard of a car. I'm in the back corner of an engine. Any light, this is perfect for me. You know, this is plenty bright. So I don't need to be, you know, the power of the sun in the palm of my hand. I just need a little something, you know. So, end rant on the light. And next is going to be this. And I have a much better version of this on my keys. This is actually the one that I keep in the shop. So I'm just going to show you what it is. It is a titanium toothpick. And no, I do not use it for my teeth. I use it, again, as a pick. You know, how many times you get a splinter or a metal sliver, use that, pull it right out, or you got to get some crap out of a connector. This thing has just proved to be invaluable. Didn't think I'd use it as much as I would, but you know, I find myself reaching for it all the time, and I think it's only because I have it. If I didn't know it existed, I probably wouldn't miss it, but pretty sure you can find these on Amazon, or just Google titanium toothpick and you will see there's all sorts of makes, models, and flavors. That's the end of that one. Now, the star of the show. This is the Leatherman Crunch. Some of you guys know exactly what this is, and some of you have never heard of it. I've been carrying this particular Leatherman for over 15 years, and what it is a pair of vice grips in your pocket. Now, the Leatherman guys, some of them love any Leathermans, and some of them are lighting their torches and pitchforks right now. So let me explain why this particular Leatherman is perfect for me. So as you guys know, I'm a mechanic, and every other Leatherman I've seen comes with needle nose. Needle nose are an invaluable tool. Do not misunderstand me. But what I need them for are bolts. And if I can't even get a grip on the head of this bolt, see, I just pinched my finger now, you know, on the camera in front of you guys, I need something that grabs. So I can literally, you know, take this sideways, straight on, you know, dial this down. I'm trying to do it live on camera here, so of course I'm fumbling. And squeeze. And let me tell you, that is not going anywhere. I've broken loose. Look at the purchase on that too. I don't have a lot to work with there. That's a very flat head, which is why I was using this for demonstration. I've broken loose bolts I didn't think I was going to be able to get loose with this thing. They've also worked into the nose a pin vise. So what that does it gives you purchase on like stripped out bolts, you know, tiny little, what am I trying to say? Imagine a broken off screw, a broken off bolt, anything round that you need to grab straight on. This thing is like a screw extractor. You know, this thing has worked better than tools that I have purpose built for screw extraction, let me tell you. Invaluable. Comes with a set of cutters here, mostly for soft material, you know, like wires and copper. On the handle, you got your serrated blade. Got a Phillips #2 screwdriver. And a nice flat, you know, they call it a screwdriver, but a coarse and fine file, a little lanyard loop, and the only other two things are different renditions of the flathead. I believe this is also a scraper. Yeah, they got a little chisel tip to them. You know, they're scrapers, and you can see that one's a little cockeyed from when I got a little too overzealous with the multi-tool, but 99% of the time, I need a pair of vice grips, or I need a knife, and I need a screwdriver. You know, these two have been the bread and butter of screwdriver needs when I need them, especially this one. Doesn't slip, perfect #2 screwdriver. What else? Comes with a pair of wire strippers built in right here. You can put a wire into the nook. They're a little awkward to use, but it works nicely. And it folds up nice and small. It's been sitting in my pocket, like I said, 15 years or so. They discontinued them a few years back. They brought them back for a couple years, and now they're permanently discontinued. I think when I got these originally, I paid like, I don't know, $80. Now they're somewhere on eBay for like 300 something. You know, some people want more, some people want less. Those are just the scalpers that take advantage of when something gets discontinued. But I'm sure if you keep your eye on the market and wait for the hype to die down, you can pick yourself up a pair of these. And could not recommend these enough. If I lost these tonight, I would buy one tomorrow at any price. That's how much I can't do my job without these pliers. So that's it for now, guys. Just a little peek into my cool tools that I have here at the house. You know, hopefully I'm going to be picking up my real toolbox very soon, which has even more cool and purpose-built tools that if you guys enjoy this video and want to see more of that, I'd be more than happy to throw together another one. Sorry for the lack of content. I don't know if I can keep up with the every week schedule at the moment. I'm just kind of fighting for my life as far as sickness after sickness and trying to put together the house and the garage and blah, blah, blah. And my grandmother's still not doing the best. Everything's sort of piling up on me. And, the whole reason I make these videos is I enjoy them. And it's starting to feel not so enjoyable, the stress of having to come up with a video every week. I don't mind an every week schedule. I picked it myself. But when you got everything else in the world fighting against you and you still haven't made a video, it's a lousy feeling. And I feel like I let you guys down if I don't. So my apologies. And it's not going to be permanent, but it might be an every other week schedule, or I upload as I get them. I got over, I think, 4,300 of you guys now, and appreciate every single one of you guys, and I want to keep the content coming for you guys, and hopefully this weather gets better, I get better, life gets better, and until then, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.